Okay, everybody start coming in. Very good. All the regular student. Okay. You happen to be first, Soling. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Ajahn. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Okay.
Don't have anything to ask. Thank you.
Where is your daughter?
She's coming in a minute.
I
She's coming in a
see.
minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let me go say hello to Joseph Chi. Chi from Malaysia. Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, Ajahn. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, Ajahn. Recently, I came across a teaching from a monk, and he shared about mano, chitta, and vijnana being the mind. I didn't really understand what he said, and I just thought maybe I should ask you
Well,
about chitta, mano, and vijnana.
if you didn't understand what he said, how can I understand? Because you would not be able to tell me what he said.
If I am not wrong, he said that chitta is the heart and the feeling part. Mano is the intellect, and consciousness deals with our senses.
Yes, he's partially right. When he said consciousness, he's referring to vijnana, one of the nama khandas. Okay, this one connect to the sensual organs. They have the five vijnana that connects to the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body, so that it can receive the sensual objects and then send it to the mind through the vijnana. While the word mano refers to the knowing element. Mano, or the heart, sometimes is translated as the heart or the mind. Since the mind and the heart, this knowing element has two parts, emotion and intellect. See? So sometimes we use calling the different parts differently. Sometimes we refer to the heart when we talk about the emotion. Sometimes we refer to the mind when we refer to the intellect. So this is just the same thing. We're talking about the same person with different perspective. Like you looking front facing you look like one thing. Look you from the back, you look like another thing. Look you from the side, you look like another thing. So, but we are talking about the same person. We are talking about the same thing. All right.
So the knower is in three of them, or it's the same?
The knower is the knowing element is the person like we're talking like you, right, with different aspects.
Right.
Okay. The knowing element has the emotional aspect, it has the intellectual aspects. And so we use different terms to refer to them. When we talk about the emotional aspect, we talk about the heart. When we talk about the intellectual aspect, we talk about the mind or the chitta. The heart is mano in Pali. Mano and chitta.
So they mean the same thing?
No, we're talking about the different aspect of the same thing.
Oh, right.
We're talking about intellectual aspect, we're talking about emotional aspect. Like we have EQ and IQ. See, why do we have EQ and IQ? Because we have two different aspects in our life, right? We have emotional quotient and we have intellectual quotient. Some people can have high IQ and have very low EQ, They can be intelligent, smart, might have good grades, but they are highly emotional, very low EQ, see, very sensitive people. That means they lack a lot, they don't have the control of their emotion. Okay, so don't worry about all this terminology. We're talking about the knowing element.
Just this different perspective. That's all.
Yes, and the important thing is how to free the knowing element from suffering. That's the whole purpose of our study here. And the cause that cause suffering to arise in the knowing element are the defilements, the three cravings: kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. And the thing that we need to eliminate these three cravings is called the magga, the path, or the Noble Eightfold Path. So we lack this, we lack the Noble Eightfold Path. We have very little strength in the Noble Eightfold Path. We have some, but not strong enough to be able to eliminate all the cravings from our knowing element. So this is what we have to do right now, is to study how to develop the Noble Eightfold Path. And most of the factors is quite clear, quite easy to understand, like right action, right speech, right livelihood, right endeavor, right effort. What is difficult is mindfulness, samadhi, and right view. So this is what we have to rely on a teacher, an enlightened teacher, to teach us, because this is something far beyond our normal cognition. We cannot learn from people in this world about these three things: mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. That's why we are here for, really. We are talking about these three factors more than any other factors. All right?
Understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Maybe later. I'll give other people a chance. Each one have one question first, unless they are connected. If it's not, then we have to wait for the next round, okay? This is the basic rule of our meeting. I make up the rule as we go along. Okay. Next, to Ko Singh. Hi, are you from Singapore, Ko Singh? Cannot hear you, I'm sorry. Something's wrong with your microphone. Maybe when you enter, you did not click on using the computer or audio. Maybe you have to pull up your and yeah, that's better. I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay. Ajahn, I have
Can you speak louder? You have to be closer.
okay. The question today, you have often encouraged us to earn enough money as savings so that we do not need to work as an employee. Do you want to elaborate on this, Ajahn?
I mean, if you cannot become a monk yet, and you have to, in the process of building up the strength to become a monk, then you have to rely on your own money to feed you. So if you have to work, you should only work just to provide you with the four basic requisites of life: food, clothing, shelter, and medicine. So you don't have to work too much. So then you can have part of the time, have your time doing the practice to develop the magga, so that you will be able to become a monk and then fully develop the magga eventually. That's what I mean. So if right now, if you have some saving and you think you can use it for two years, for instance, and you then might have then you can stop working. Then you can concentrate practicing as a layman first until you feel that you are quite confident that you can become a monk. Then you become a monk. Then you don't have to work. Like my case, I had enough money to practice for 1 year, so I quit the job I was working, and then I concentrate that 1 year on my practice. So at the end of the year, nearing the end of the year, I'm running out of money. So I have to make a decision what to do. If I'm not confident enough to become a monk, then I have to go back to work. But if I'm confident to become a monk, then I just take the leap, become the monk. So that's what I did. When I have to make the decision, I finally decide I can make it as a monk. So I didn't have to go back and work. Because I know going back working will be going back, back stepping from the goal, because you would don't have much, you won't be practicing as much as when you're not working. I'm talking about practicing full time, like being a monk, except that you're still living at home and relying on yourself for your livelihood. But once you know you can do the practice all the time and not feeling bored or not feeling depressed, then you're ready to become a monk. Okay? All right. Let me say hello to Naomi Jonas from Toronto. Hi, Naomi. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
How's your practice going?
It's going okay. I'm just trying to continue and keep my motivation up, and not let my habits and
Yeah.
kilesas take over. So I have to keep remembering why I'm doing it and keep trying. And
The best motivation is the result from your practice. As soon as you get the result, you'll become very motivated, very confident. And the only way to get the result is to keep pushing in your practice. So you must never relent on your practice once you are committed to this path. No going back, no looking back. Are you ready for that?
I don't know.
Sometimes the mind still have this yearning to go back to the old ways, to go to a party, to meet your friends, and to go shopping or do whatever you used to do. Every time you think of this, think of death, maybe it will stop you from doing it. Say, you eventually gonna die, and what you gonna do when you die? Are you ready? Are your mind ready to take up death yet? Yeah. So maybe then it will force you to come back and do your practice, because your practice will prepare your mind to be able to cope with death when the time comes. You can think of death every time you defilement trying to pull you away from the path. Or think of the impermanence of the happiness that you get from going back your old ways. You get brief happiness, and then what happened? You end up having problem again. Same old problem. If you think like this, it will then stop you from yearning to go back to your old ways. Remind you of the suffering part. Don't think of the happiness part. Think of the suffering part. We tend to forget the suffering part. When we look back, we tend to look at the happiness part. Okay? You have any question today?
That was all today, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay. Mudita from Thailand, from Bangkok. How are you?
กราบนมัสการค่ะพระอาจารย์ I'm very good and how are you พระอาจารย์
Yes, very fine. Thank you.
Is it cold in Chonburi now?
Yeah, it's cool, you know. If we compare to the Westerners, it's probably summer for them, but for us, we're shivering. When it's only 17 degrees this morning, and we're already shivering.
Exactly, yes. Today it's not exactly a question. I just want to say for the past few nights I have been meditating a bit at night, and when I try to meditate, so I recite Buddho, 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 and then after a while I can start to hear my own heartbeat. But it's not only from my heart, but I can feel through the veins, maybe like my neck or my arm. Then I forgot to recite Buddho, and I was like paying attention to my heartbeat instead. Then I realized that I should focus on my meditation object, which is Buddho. So I came back to Buddho again.
That's right. You should stick to Buddha.
Yeah.
Don't switch, because your mind will be fluctuating.
Right.
It will not be still. The
Right.
goal is to make the mind still.
Right.
In order for it to become still, it has to be fixed on one object.
Okay. So if we feel something in our body, we just ignore it and just keep on Buddho, Buddho.
That's right. Anything that appears to distract you, just leave it alone,
Okay.
and just continue on with your reciting of your mantra. Or
Okay.
if you're watching your breath, keep watching your breath.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ค่ะพระอาจารย์
Kenneth from Switzerland. Hi, Ken.
Hello,
How are you?
Donna. Very well, thank you.
Any question today?
Yeah, I have a question, something that I've been curious about for a couple of years. It was about 4 years ago now. I was in Chiang Mai and I went to pay respects to Luang Por Plien. And I just spent a very brief moment with him paying respects. And he looked at me and he said, well, he said in Thai, and the people who I was with told me later, he said I had been living in Thailand in a previous life. And that was all really. I've just been curious about why he should say that, or whether it's relevant or important in the practice. Maybe Ajahn could comment on that.
Not really, but he probably say, if you like Thailand, you probably mean in your past you might have been living in Thailand before. That's all. Because basically what we like, we used to go back to it. We like to go back to what we like.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, for this, you don't think there's any significance or help to the practice?
Well, it might mean that in your past life you might have been a Buddhist before.
Okay.
That's why it attracts you to become to Buddhism today again.
Okay.
But what you should be focused on is your present, your present situation. How are you doing the practice or not? For instance, this is more important than what happened in the past.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me say hello to Alvin Lee from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I heard Malaysia is under an emergency law now, right?
Yes, it's under emergency law until August, 1st of August.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to overcome the COVID cases, which has gone up very high, Tanajan.
Yes.
3,300 cases today.
Oh, really? It's much higher than Thailand. We only have about 250.
Yeah. Ours is out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tanajan, just a quick one on Joseph's question just now. Then, just to repeat, I think my understanding is the knower is actually the chitta, right, Ajahn?
Well, sometimes we refer to it as the chitta, but usually the chitta refers to the intellectual part of the knower, while the mano refers to the emotional part, which is translated as the mind, as the heart and mind. Jit Jai in Thai. Jit means the chitta, Jai means the heart.
I
So
see.
sometimes they are used interchangeably. So don't get too involved or obsessed with the terminology. Just listen to the context of the word that is being used at that time. Sometimes talking about the emotional part. When we talk about the kilesa, we talk about the emotional part. Yeah. But when we talk about anicca, dukkha, anatta, we're talking about the intellectual part. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Like in the Nama Khandas, you have the intellectual and the emotional. Vedana is the emotional part, feelings. Sankhara and Sanya, this is intellectual part.
Okay.
Thoughts and perception.
Perception.
Yeah. While the Vijnana is just a connector to the sensual organs.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Let me say hello to Forrest Tong from Massachusetts. Hi, Forrest. How are you?
Hi, Ajahn. I'm doing well. Thank you for the call today. I'm still have some confusion about your meditation instructions of not thinking. So, for example, if it seems like one of the 5 hindrances is present, then is it okay to think about how to get rid of it, or is it better to still just ignore the hindrance and continue with our meditation object?
Well, by not thinking about getting rid of it, you're already getting rid of it.
Okay.
So just stick to your mindfulness object, whatever you're using, especially when you're meditating. Try to force yourself to stick with your meditation object. But if you could not, then you might have to think of ways of overcoming your hindrance. You might be angry at someone and you cannot concentrate on your meditation object, such as a mantra. Then you have to deal with the anger directly by using metta. Normally we use metta or loving kindness. And one of the characteristics of loving kindness is to be forgiving. When somebody did wrong to you, you should forgive them. And then you will can subdue your anger that way.
I see. So if we can stick with the meditation object, it's better to let the hindrance go away by itself without.
That's right. Just leave it alone. Just concentrate on your meditation object. Then whatever thought that come in will disappear.
And if we follow the steps of anapanasati, does that involve thinking? And is that better not to do?
Well, the same thing, anapanasati, the goal is not to think, just to be aware of your breath. Just to know your breath coming in and going out at the tip of your nose. Just watching, not thinking about any other thing. If you think, it means you're not watching your breath.
Okay. How about the steps like, breathing in, experiencing the whole body, breathing out, experiencing the whole body, breathing in, calming the bodily formation, those kinds of steps in the suttas?
You don't have to worry about it. This is the result of your concentration.
Okay.
When you concentrate, then you can see the breath coming in and going out, and you'll see everything start to become more calmer. But you don't. It just tells you the result of what you will get when you concentrate on your breath.
I see. Okay.
So just keep concentrating on your breath, then everything else will follow.
Okay. Thank you.
Very simple, very simple. Like when you use the key to start your car, once you put the key into the keyhole and start the engine, then everything start working, right?
Mhm.
The engine start working, the air conditioner start working, your radio start working, your windshield wiper start working. Everything comes in automatically.
Mhm.
You don't have to worry about it. What you worry is to get the key. The problem is you don't have the key. You cannot find the key. So nothing starts, and you keep wondering what's all this about, you know?
Mhm.
So find the key, concentration, mindfulness. Stop thinking, then everything will happen.
Mm. Okay.
All right,
Makes
good.
sense. Ajahn.
Is that it today? For now,
Yes.
anyway. Okay. Hi, Claudia Schreiner from Germany, I believe. Claudia, you have to unmute your microphone. Okay.
Namaskaran. Kak.
Hi. From Nuremberg, all right, from Nuremberg.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
next to Nuremberg, yeah. Yeah, and I have a question that is very difficult for me to express. Can you understand me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. I'm also asking for a friend of mine, and I hope to find the right words. Before I converted to Theravada Buddhism, I practiced Mahayana Buddhism, but I gave it up because I don't follow the Bodhisattva ideal. So to me, the Theravada is more easy or easier to understand. But before I converted to Theravada Buddhism, I had a teacher from Tibet, and he did everything very well. So, and we still remained friends after I converted to Theravada. And this teacher is still the teacher of a good friend of mine. So he is invited to Furt, where we live, once a year. And of course, I still support him as a friend. He knows that I go the Theravada way. He also was with me in our Wat. And he said, yeah, if Theravada is your practice, it's totally okay. The concern of the problem my Mahayana friend and I have now is the question, this Tibetan teacher, he is no monk anymore. He suddenly is spreading very critical political posts on social media. He shares postings of politicians who spread a lot of hatred against Muslim people who were involved into what happened in America. And now this friend and I wonder what to do with this teacher, because we feel goodwill for him, we feel compassion for him, but we have no idea what to do now. Talking to him about his hatred against other people, or we feel so helpless. We don't want to lose him as a friend, but we don't know what to do.
Well, you can still keep him as a friend, but you don't have to follow what he said. Let him say what he wants to say. Just accept that we have different views of things, and this happened to be his views, which to you might not be right, because the Buddha never taught us to spread hatred. But we can still be friends, but if he wants you to follow his teaching, then you can refuse to do so if you feel that it is wrong. But if it's possible, maybe it's better just to stay away from him. And only if you have to deal with him, only deal with him when you have to. Still with the same type of compassion and loving kindness. But otherwise, try to stay away, might be better for you. This doesn't mean you hate him or anything like that, but you find that it is not beneficial for you, and it can be harmful to you if you're not careful. Once it can influence you.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to hate him, even though he
No.
himself is spreading hatred toward other people.
We feel sad. We feel so heartbroken and sad.
Yeah, you just feel sympathy for him, that he have the wrong view. And hopefully maybe one day he'll realize and return to the Buddha's view again. See, what he should hate is not people. What he should hate is his own defilements. This is okay. Yeah, the more you hate your defilement, the better it's for you. And you want to get rid of them. But don't hurt people, don't hate people, don't hate animals or any beings. The Buddha sabbe satta, loving the being that even is gonna hurt you. This is the Buddha's way. Like Kalimala, I think you have heard the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kalimala wants to kill the Buddha, and instead the Buddha still give him compassion, taught him the right way.
Yeah.
So hatred has no room in Buddhism, regardless of the reason. Hatred is to be get rid of. Dosa.
Yeah, dosa.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Gavin from somewhere in Washington State, USA.
Hello, Ajahn.
Vancouver, USA. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Right, am I saying right? From Vancouver, USA?
Yes.
Okay.
Vancouver, Washington. Yep.
Okay. Anything to ask?
Yeah, I've been trying to investigate pain, physical pain, a little bit. Would it be correct to say that we only experience pain because of our attachment, which is a result of our delusion?
It's our delusion that caused us to think we are experiencing the pain. But in fact, we're just knowing the pain. But we put our emotion into it. So we feel like we are experiencing the pain also. But in fact, the pain is only in the body. And the mind is the knower of the pain. But with the delusion come into play, then the delusion tie the mind with the body and make it becomes one and the same thing. So whatever the body feels, the mind also feels like the body. But with the practice of samadhi and vipassana, you can pull the mind away from the body and let the mind become just the knower of the pain, not the experiencer of the pain. Just knowing that the body is painful, but the mind has no pain, has no dukkha. This is the goal of our practice, is to separate the mind from the body.
And if we try to zoom in on the pain, to see exactly where it is, it becomes a little bit confusing to me, because it's basically like if you dial down to the biology, it becomes like chemical transmitters and neurons and going to your brain. But is that even important to try to see?
Not important at all. It's just how to deal with the pain, that's all. And the way to deal with the pain that will not cause you any pain is to leave the pain alone. Just accept it, like you accept the weather.
Okay. And then a related question. So a Sotapanna does not fear pain, aging, or sickness, death, right? Are these are different fears, but they're all gotten rid of if you let go of the body? Is that correct?
You have to do them separately. You have to deal with the pain individually, then you have to deal with death individually. And aging is quite easy to do, because we know we have to accept it anyway.
Okay.
So just the sickness, the pain that arises from sickness, like getting infected with the virus right now, and the death that might becomes the consequence of contracting the virus. This is what you have to overcome by separating yourself from the body. See that you are not the body, you are the mind, connected to the body through your consciousness, your vijnana. And you can separate from this by practice. You can see this by when you meditate and when your mind becomes fully absorbed in the jhanas, then the mind will temporarily be disconnected from the body. Once you see this, when you come out, when you reconnect with the body, then you use vipassana, thinking, reminding yourself that you're not the body, you are the mind. So whatever happens to the mind, the body, there's nothing you can do about it. You might be able to at a level, but beyond that, you might not be able to do anything. Then you will have to accept whatever happens to it.
Okay. Can I ask one last question? Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I've been trying to watch some autopsy dissections lately as well. And sometimes I'll notice that my mind just jumps to kind of dissecting the skin off of the body. But I don't feel like my mindfulness is strong enough to continue that investigation, I guess. So should I try to stay with the dissection of the body or just return to mindfulness?
You feel that your investigation or contemplation is not fruitful enough, then you should come back and do more mindfulness and meditation to increase the strength of your mind first.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Okay. Hello to Carl Phai Lim. How are you? Are you from Malaysia?
Yes, good day to you, Ajahn. I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I have a question following up on the Eightfold Path, especially on the three essential practices of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. When it comes to Samadhi, which encompasses right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, does right concentration should only come after the right effort or right mindfulness, or it actually come along the way naturally as a set of three?
No, there comes more or less one after the other. First, you have to have the effort to develop mindfulness. Once you have strong enough mindfulness, then you can have full concentration on jhana.
Okay.
So right now, you should put your effort in your developing your mindfulness.
Yes.
From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep.
Yes.
Don't be without mindfulness. Always control your mind, your thoughts. Allow it to think only when you have to. Otherwise, try to stop it. And then when you have time, sit down and concentrate on your breath or on your mantra to bring the mind to full concentration.
Yes.
To the fourth jhana, where you will get happiness and equanimity. This is what you want in order for you to get rid of your desire for other things. You want to replace everything with equanimity and the happiness that you get from the jhanas.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. To Belinda Liu from Singapore. Hi, Belinda. How are you?
I'm well, Ajahn. Thank you.
Any question today?
Yes, I have one question. Because of COVID situations, most of us have to go online Zoom, include training. There's a long sessions online throughout the day. Would Ajahn be able to guide us how to be mindful when we attend a Zoom session?
Just watch what you're watching, see, and don't think about other things. Just keep following the meeting. Don't let your mind go think about other things. Focus on the meeting.
So after which the minds get tired and the body feel strong discomfort.
You take a break. So you have to take a break.
Mm.
That's why you only work so many hours a day. You don't work 24 hours a day, because the body and the mind cannot deal with this working constantly all the time. So after you're feeling tired mentally or physically, then you have to stop, take a break.
Mm.
Okay. Think like this, that if you're really hard up for working because you want more money, then just think, what would you do when you die with the money that you have earned so hard? You could not take anything with you, any money with you. So earn enough money to keep you going. That's enough, really. You don't have to be rich. Don't have to have a lot of possession or anything like that. It's better to have calm, peace, and happiness of mind than anything else. You can take this with you. The mind can take the mental happiness with it when it leaves the body. So you should accumulate what you can take with you. Don't accumulate things that you cannot take with you when you go. The Buddha and his noble disciple accumulate palamang sukham, the supreme happiness. This is what they can take with them, see. So that's what they accumulate. And everything else they discard, they throw away. They live very humble, live very simple.
Mm.
They only have 8 pieces of possession. The bowl for food, the 3 pieces of rope for clothing, have a razor blade to shave the head and the beard, and have needles and string to fix the rope when it's broken, when it's torn, and have a water strainer, because in ancient time you have to go fetch water from the stream, and you have to have a strainer in order to not to take any living beings with the water that you. And that's all they need to exist, and that's all they wanted. So they don't have any worry about earning money to buy possessions. They have all the time to build up, accumulate the supreme happiness. So this is what you should look at. They are your example, your role model. So right now in the house, if you have more than what you need, give it away. Give it away to the poor. Make your house like a temple, a monastery. Just only have what you need. What you don't need, give it away. Then you don't have to worry about it, looking after it, taking care of it. And you don't have to work so much, because you don't want anything. You don't want any possession. Whatever you need, you already have. So you don't have to work so hard. Okay?
Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Let me say hello to Kyuyan Nuong from London. Hi, how are you, Kyuyan?
Hello. Thank you. I have a question today.
Can you speak a little bit louder, please?
Just because when I was small, my mother was telling me about like the power of the mind, and she said that some yogi, they can burn a piece of paper with their mind. Is it possible when the mind is in a different world?
This I haven't heard of, but I'm not sure whether it's possible or not. But supposedly the mind has some psychic power like levitation, you can lift something up with the mind. Yeah. Like the body of some practitioner, meditator, after sitting for a while can levitate, can rise above the one of Ajahn Mun's teacher have this ability. After he sat in meditation, he found that his body floated up and hit the ceiling. So this can happen, but it's not what you want, because they cannot solve your problem. They cannot get rid of your dukkha, your suffering. If you should have it, just consider that is part of your ability, but it's not helpful to your quest for the liberation from suffering. So don't put too much emphasis on this thing. Concentrate on the jhana, the fourth jhana. This is what you want to have, and the development of wisdom, seeing the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. This will be able to liberate you from suffering totally. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, let me go to Sajal Kar. Hi, Sajal Kar from Maryland, Silver Spring. Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Ajahn. I hope you can hear me well. I have a question today that I understand that, or I sense that how breaking a sila affects meditation, but I may be prejudiced because I have learned and read the things about Buddhism, right? But how does it actually happen? Why does breaking a precept affects the meditation?
Because when you do something wrong, you have guilty conscience. And when you meditate, this guilty conscience can become a hindrance to your concentration. You keep worrying about what you did, and when you might feel sorry and you might feel afraid that you might have to pay the price for what you did and so forth. So this can be a hindrance to you when you meditate. Or if you take alcohol, you can become drunk and not mindful enough to be able to meditate.
So the sila is actually is not just words. I think it's kind of literally converting us into super beings. If I may say this thing, I think that is kind of like if we live through this, keep the sila all throughout the day, 24 hours, these things, then I think it's kind of I think we are going to a different place, and it's kind of, it ought to be taken kind of literally, in the sense that I'm kind of filtering myself to become a beyond ordinary human being, perhaps, right?
To become full human being is to have the to keep the 5 precepts. If you lack the 5 precepts, if you cannot keep any of the precepts or some of the precepts, then you are transforming your mind to become animals. See? So you want to be a full, complete human, you have to have the 5 precepts. You have to be able to keep the 5 precepts. And if you want to go higher than being a human being, you have to have charity, plus charity and the 5 precepts. This will then develop your mind to the level of angels or spiritual being, devas, so forth. And if you want to go higher than the deva, you want to become a Brahma, then you have to practice meditation to get the jhanas. Then your mind will then enter into the realms of the Brahma. And if you want to become a noble disciple, then you have to develop vipassana to see that everything is dukkha in this world. And it's not worth having them or have any desire for them. Then you can be free eventually from these 3 realms of existence. You will be in Nibbana, outside of the 3 realms of existence. When you're outside, we call it Nibbana. When when you can go out of the three realms of existence, you are in Nibbana. The three realms of existence is compared to a prison. See, inside the prison, they might have different sections for different type of criminals. But once you're released from the prison, then you're outside of the prison system. See, that's what Nibbana is like, outside of the prison system. Free, no suffering, no dukkha, no aging, sickness, and death. No birth, aging, sickness, and death. This is all about the mind, not the body. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
Does this answer your question about Sila?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it actually,
Yeah.
I think you covered all grounds.
Yeah. Sila is the first step to maintain your humanity. To remain human, you have to be able to keep the 5 precepts. And if you want to go up higher, then you have to be charitable, generous, giving, sharing your wealth to other people. And if you want to go higher than that, you have to practice meditation to have jhana. And if you want to go outside of the 3 realms of existence, then you have to develop the wisdom of the Buddha, anicca, dukkha, anatta, and the 4 noble truths. Okay? So this is where sila, samadhi, and wisdom comes into play. See? It's a step-by-step of developing your mind to go higher and higher and eventually out of the realm of existence. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Hi, Alfredo from Brazil. How are you, Alfredo?
Hi, buddy. I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
I have 1% of battery. If I fall, it's my battery. I am in cellular mode.
I see.
But congratulations for your house. Very, very good
You
place
see
to
that? You
practice.
see my house? You like my house?
Yes, very good.
Yeah, we just finished renovating. Yeah, we just finished renovating. So I thought I'd take a video to keep as a reminder, because eventually it will not be like this. After a while, it will change.
Oh, thanks. One day I go with you. I go
Okay.
visit you.
Okay.
I will visit you.
All right, fine. See you then. Okay.
Mm.
All right. No questions.
Okay. My
Okay.
house, my place of practice is very good too.
Okay,
I have
good.
years of Buddhism.
Yeah.
And now my place of practice is near country, is very good too.
Yeah. What you need is a quiet place. Yeah, that's all. Quiet place. It doesn't have to be beautiful or anything like that. It's just a quiet place where there are no disturbances. Okay?
Calm place. I have dogs near and other neighborhoods but I use fone de ouvido to not nose. I use
earplugs, yeah.
on my ear.
Yes. So you don't hear
to block
anything.
dogs and
Yeah.
neighborhoods.
Okay. Good.
Yes.
All right. Any question?
About commentaries and questions. In Suttas have a good passage about Buddha saying to your son, his son tell the name of Buddha to your friends, and Buddha tell your son, Rahula, don't tell about your friends that I your father. Keep sati, né? Keep sati, not tell I your father. How is maintain sati all the time? The same Buddha is very moments, né? All the time is okay to sati. It's very incredible, né?
Yes, it's good if you can maintain mindfulness all the time, because then your mind will be calm and peaceful and happy. Okay?
Okay. Other question. I don't like to teach in Buddhas a lot. Né? I don't like a lot. I see you teaching other people's. When other people's are suffering, we have to help. No.
It depends on what they need to get rid of the suffering. If they need money, then you have to give them money. But if they don't need money, they need Dhamma, then you have to teach them the Dhamma. See? It depends on what they need what type of suffering they have. If it's physical suffering, then you have to give them
my friend suffering about her son. Eh? Her son is stay with other father, and my friend suffering. We have to help people or no in this case about things of family, other people.
If they ask for your help, yes. If they don't ask, then you should not interfere with their family affair. They have to request for your help first.
Yes.
Or else they can think that you interfere with their business, you know. So the Buddha said you should only help people when they ask for your help. Otherwise, don't help them. Or at least if they don't welcome your help, then don't give them any help. But if they welcome your help, then yes, you can do that. You can help them. Okay? I think you freeze. Maybe you lose your 1% battery already. Let me say hello to Yanasami. Hi, from Lebanon.
Hello, Bante.
How are you?
Now I'm fine. I was struggling with Corona for the past 10 days, but now I'm fine.
You catch the virus yourself?
Yeah, I did.
And how was the symptom? Very severe or not? Or just mild?
Actually, they were quite severe. I got pretty much all the symptoms I ever had in my life, and much more. Also, I lose my smell and my taste almost, not completely, but maybe 80%, and still not recover fully.
Did you have any medicine? Did you see a doctor?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't see a doctor. We talked to them. Nobody's accepting patients at the hospitals that we know. So there's a huge problem. I mean, the hospitals are fully stuffed in all the country.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked to doctors. I got medicine, and my sister was here to take care of me. And my brother also was here because he also got it. He's the one who passed it on to me. Actually, I got it from my brother. And it was tough 10 to 12 days, but now I'm feeling much better.
Okay. What type of medicine do you take? Antiviral medicine?
Antibiotics, and I took cough syrup and paracetamol.
Paracetamol, painkillers.
Yeah, and just like strepsils also, because I was coughing a lot.
Okay.
And aspirin, and a bunch of vitamins.
I see. Fortunately, it didn't get to your lungs yet.
Well, I mean, we don't really know if it did or not, but there was one special antibiotic given to me to prevent it from getting to the lungs.
Yeah, because if it gets to the lung, you cannot breathe. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now at least you can know what dukkha is like, having been born.
Oh yeah, I've known dukkha, Bhante, even before. I've been through a lot of dukkha in my life.
So how come you're still not trying to deal with it?
I caught typhoid when I was in Cambodia a few years ago, and it reminded me a lot of those. The symptoms always come like really terrible. I mean, but with Corona, it comes with like you lose your senses almost, your sense of smell, your sense of taste. It does not come with more pain. No, it's not like that.
But you're almost well now.
Yeah, almost. I mean, all the annoying phase is finished. Now we just have to wait for my senses to come back, and the cough. They said the cough will continue for 1 month, even after the Corona is finished. But now I'm COVID negative, so it's okay.
How was your mind? Was your mind okay? Calm? Suffering?
No, it was. I was suffering a lot because I'm used to living alone, and then suddenly my brother, my sister, and her fiance came, and they're living here, and I was very annoyed because suddenly it went from being my quiet sanctuary to a very noisy place. You know.
So it's not the virus. It's not the virus that caused you the suffering.
No, I was suffering more because of because I hate noise, anything noisy, and I just hate it. Someone talking on their loudspeaker, and someone or my sister and fiance fighting, and then watching TV loud mode, and all these things make me suffer more than the Corona itself. Yeah.
Okay. So you have any question today?
I want to tell you about this another thing that I'm suffering with since a long time. I still have this hard feelings toward my parents, because when I came to go to college during my college years, they did not support me. And I still have this feeling that I cannot forgive them for doing that to me, because I still relied on them and I needed their help. And I still feel this kind of like anger or this unresolved tension about this thing, and it keeps on coming up during my meditation practice. So,
that's because you look on the wrong side of things. See? You look on what you want from them and not getting it. You don't look at what they have given you. See, what they have given you was more than anybody in this world can give you. It's your life. They raise you up. And all these years, who would raise you up if it's not them? So you look at the wrong side. You look at the things that you might get and not getting it. But you forget that the things that you have been given is much more than what you don't get. See? So that's why the Buddha taught us to constantly reminding ourselves of the benefit that our parents have given us from the time of conception, from the time in the womb of the mother, to the time when we are born and raised and looked after by them until we become able to be on our own. So they have given us much anything, and nobody can give us like they did, and we can never repay them. The Buddha said for what they did for us. If you can think like this, then you can forgive them. They might not be able to support you, or they might feel that they have done enough and they want to have some time for themselves also. Yeah. So you have to understand that human beings just like you. You should switch your role. Think of if you are them and they are you, what would you do? You know, after raising you for 20 years or so, and they feel that they can no longer support you. If you think like this, I think you can forgive them for the little thing that they didn't do for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Look at the Buddha. His mother gave birth to him, and 7 days she passed away. He still think of her as being his beneficiary. And after he became enlightened, he searched for her, for spiritual beings. And when he found her, she taught her the Dhamma until she became a Sotapanna. She said, this is the only way to repay your debt to your parents, is to making them to become a noble disciple. Then they can be free from eternal suffering. So you still owe them a lot of things, even though if they didn't do something for you. They did more than anybody else in this world can do for you.
Okay.
Then you can forgive them. Then you can feel grateful for them. Because without them, you would have you won't have this body to complain in the first place. And sometimes we take it for granted that since they are our parents, they owe us something. They have to feed us. No, they don't owe us anything. Look at some of the bad parents. They just go take an abortion and then forget about you. But your mother decided to carry you for 9 months in the womb, and suffer all this time for you. They don't owe you anything, but they did it because they are human. They have the 5 precepts. So you should be proud of your parents, thankful for them, for what they have done for you, and forgive them for a little bit of things that they might not be able to do it for you. Like maybe this Christmas they didn't buy you any toys. Don't get mad at them.
No, sure not.
Yeah. Okay?
Yes, but
All right. Let me go to other people.
okay.
Okay, to Philip and Adeline from Malaysia. Hi, how are you?
Good evening, Ajahn. I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Ajahn?
Good, thank you.
Yes, I have a question to ask. Just regarding the some of the tales in the Jataka tales. There's one especially one which I come across many times. Even it's drawn on the temple walls. It's about the 16 dreams of the king Pasinadi, right? That's where this king has dreamt and the Buddha has interpreted for him. What significance has it got when the Buddha has explained these 16 dreams? Is it the time which is going to come? But in some tradition like Burma, they say that this has already happened. And what was actually the primary message that the Buddha was actually trying to tell us? I mean, in his dream here, tells you about certain kings, certain governments, certain people, and things like that.
Well, actually, I never studied these stories in the first place. I just heard some of them, but I never really put much emphasis on studying them. They are referring to the past lives of the Buddha mainly. Yeah.
Right.
And they're building up each different parameters of perfection.
Right. Right. So most of these stories, I mean, most of these stories, I mean, they do teach when you are younger in Sunday schools and things like that. You know,
Because it's easier to teach stories than to teach you the fundamental of Buddhism. Yeah.
at that age, okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So it's one of those things that's nice to read, but it's not too important.
Not too important. It might instill your faith in the Buddha, for instance. Yeah. But what you really need to know is just the Four Noble Truths. Understand
and
the Four Noble Truths.
And the 5 suttas that you have recommended.
Yes, yes. They basically deal with the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths.
Okay.
But you can learn any other stories, but don't be distracted or sidetracked and mislead you away from the core of the teaching. Because those stories will not help you to become enlightened. You need to have the Eightfold Path to become enlightened. So this is what you should really focus upon. Learn what they are and how to develop them. How to, what you call, if it's using computer language, how to install the Noble Eightfold Path into your mind. Right now it's in the CDs. So you have to install it in the mind by practicing. See? This is the installation part, which is a difficult part. We all get the CDs, from the Tipitaka, from the noble disciples, but we don't know how to install this CD, this program into our machine, into our computer, into our mind. So that's why you need tech support. You have to go to ask the teachers how to install. So this is more important. Don't worry about the other things. You're grown up now. You're not young. You know what you really have to do now. So don't let your delusion or your defilement mislead you to go away from the main task. Okay. Adeline, you have any question?
No, not today. Thank you.
Not today. Okay. So what happened now in Malaysia? Are you under a lockdown also?
Yes, we have a lockdown. Means that there will be fewer people going to work. More people will be staying at home.
School closed?
Yeah, too close. School is closed, and you cannot go out. You cannot go out to, to restaurants and things like that. But
Entertainment venues, anything like that. Only for the essential. When you go out, you want. Okay. Same thing.
But
here.
it's actually good because the last time they had this, we had only like few people in the office, and I had the whole lunchtime to meditate. Nobody was there. It was so quiet. There was no construction beside. It was actually like last week when I was locked in my room for 1 week. I think it was actually very good. Very good.
Good. Thanks for the virus.
Yes. Yeah. I had so much time to meditate. The mind thinks lesser. It's more calmer.
Yeah. Okay. Is that all for now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Sinyi and Monica Chen from Malaysia also.
Yes. Good evening, Ajahn.
How are you?
Actually, last week I was down with cold. I caught a cold in the rain. Almost recovered.
Okay. Were you scared that might be the virus?
There is a little bit of a fear there. But then I was able to keep on reciting Buddha. So there was not much, the mind was very calm. Okay. Yesterday, we attended a wake. And actually, during this wake, there was this Chinese prayers, and there was a crying session. So I found that my mind was running out and started to get emotional. Then quickly I told myself that, oh, that is my future. Because one of my clients has passed away. And I found that, oh, okay. Then suddenly the mind just calmed down. I told myself that that is my future.
That's right. That's the purpose of going to a funeral, to remind yourself of your future.
Yeah, true. So I find that the mind was calm.
Yes.
So that was a very good antidote. Because I'm a one with, I always get very teary very fast. But that one really, you know, bring the mind down into calmness, settle down very fast. But before that, something dropped on my foot, and the mind reacted, felt a lot of grief pain. So this was one thing that I find that I was caught. I lost my mindfulness.
Yeah.
Is there any way that I can train the mind so that even like, you know, accidents happen, the mind is able to be composed?
Yes, you need the fourth jhana. You need to have equanimity. Once you have equanimity, then whatever happens to the body, your mind will still remain non-reactive, just merely knowing. So you need this really to be able to teach your mind to let go of everything. Without equanimity, you cannot stop your mind from reacting. So keep practicing meditation, mindfulness, until you get to equanimity, and then try to maintain as much equanimity as long as possible. And then when you come out, continue on with mindfulness, and then go back again until you become proficient in your meditation practice, and you can maintain equanimity most of the time. Then you can then start teaching your mind to let go of everything by seeing them as being anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then whenever you become attached or have any craving for anything, your wisdom and your equanimity will come and pull the mind away from these things, from these cravings and from this attachment. Okay.
And I realized having Buddha is very, I'm now sticking just to Buddha because recently I had to stay alone because Zinyi had to attend a workshop, and I just used Buddha. Those days I used to be very fearful if I sleep alone. But then now I use Buddha, and then it was okay.
Yeah, your fear will disappear because you don't have time to think about what makes you afraid. See? So it's very good. Mantra or chanting can help your mind, calm down your mind from fear or from anger or even from greed sometimes. All right?
Yes.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank
Hi,
you so much.
Sri and Jack from Vancouver. How are you today?
Hello, Ajahn.
Hi, Tan Ajahn. How are you?
Good. Thank
Tan
you.
Ajahn, thank you for your teaching last week. Q&A Dong asked you about the purpose of rescuing, like, for example, seafood from the store, and then you asked her, like, your teaching was to remind, like, to, I guess, put ourselves in the place of the animal, and like so being the feeling of being released, and
yes.
Yeah, the teaching after a few days, somebody suddenly came and give us a couple of crabs they caught from the ocean, and our first reaction was, oh no, we don't take live seafood. So the person left, and then suddenly we closed the door, and then we remember Ajah's teaching is like, oh, they already gave to us, we should rescue the crab. So we actually ran back and and took the crab. And then
And say thank you for the
we said, oh, thank you for giving. And then the person just thought, oh, maybe I know you don't want to eat, maybe you're giving to your relative, and we didn't say anything, we just keep quiet. I don't want to say anything. And then we took the crab to release in the Pacific Ocean. So I think it's good feeling. So
Sadhu.
Thank you, Ajahn. I think it was luckily we heard your teaching, and then we were able to think quicker and not to let. I guess it was better than to say no, and then I think you'll get killed anyway. Like for So thank you, Ajahn.
So whatever you hear, you should keep reminding yourself so you don't forget. See? Sometimes you only heard it once and you don't think about it again, you can forget.
Yeah.
So keep trying. If you hear something good, try to keep it in your mind. So you might not know when you might want to use it. See?
Yeah. It just suddenly happened, the situation, and then the teaching really remind us, and then like just apply it right away, and then it feels good.
And you can see the result right away, right? In your heart.
Yeah. And other, like our parents also saw it, and then everybody was happy. So not only us, but
Yes, good. Okay. Maybe next time you want to go to the market and buy some fresh one and then put them in the water.
Yeah, we after that we saw we went to the market and saw the same kind of crab. Like I never thought about it before, but I had the same feeling. Like thought, oh, maybe what I should do next time, like is to maybe help some of them. I can't help all, but just some.
Yeah, do what you cannot help everybody in this world, but you can help some. Do your part. Just do your part. That's all we ask of you to do.
Yeah.
Do what you can do.
Yeah. So it was really good teaching, and thank you for the question as well to Q&A Dong. Yeah.
Okay. Any question on your part today or on Sri?
I just have a questions on Majjhima Dhamma. Can you like briefly explain to me?
Middle way, not too much, not too little. That's what it means.
That's
the right amount, the right measure. You see. Sometimes doing too much can backfire, and doing not enough cannot get the result you want. So you want to know the right amount. Like if you sometimes concentrate too much on sila, and you might forget about doing dana. So you have to have the right balance. Let's put it that way: the right balance of the Eightfold Path.
Okay.
But this balance can change with time, with your practice. As you advance, when you first started, you might spend more on dana and less on sila and pavana. But as you advance, you might want to do more pavana. Then your dana will then become less.
Oh, okay.
So it means the right amount, and also the ability of you to be able to do it also. Trying to do something more than you can do can become stressful and not productive of any result anyway. If you do not enough, then you're not advancing. So sometimes you have to do a little bit more than you can do to push yourself, but not too much, not too hard to the point where you feel frustrated and disappointed. So maximize is something like that. I cannot define in one word.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're dealing with. Machima. Eating, it can be machima. Eating too much will cause you hindrance. You can feel sleepy, drowsy. Eating not enough can make you sick or make your body hungry. So you have to know the right amount, which is machima. Like the string of the violin. If you string it too hard, you can break the string. If you don't string it hard enough, you cannot make any sound out of it. So you have to know the right amount, right measure of the thing that you're dealing with. Too much of one thing can be harmful or be useless.
Yeah. It will become counterproductive. It will become like counterproductive, like sometimes.
Yeah, counterproductive, something like that.
But we need strong mindfulness. Then eventually we'll become more and more aware of our
Yes.
own level.
Yes.
Okay.
But mindfulness is never enough. So with mindfulness, there's no machima. Because we will have very little mindfulness. So we can exert to the full limit, and it will still not be too much for machima.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, Tan Ajahn, that leads me to my question, which is Vimangsa. You talk about the four Iddhipada. The last one, Vimangsa, is I guess
Thinking,
it's
it's
related.
thinking.
It's more analytical, right?
That's right, thinking about the Dhamma, thinking about the work that you do, so that you can accomplish your goal.
But is it also thinking about your progress, like to
Everything
analyze?
everything that involves in your work, your progress in your work or the lack of it, so you know what you need to do more and what you need to do less, for instance.
So how often should we do that?
Well, as you practice, you just do it when you don't do it all the time, but you do it from time to time when you feel the need to. You might ask yourself, am I doing something wrong? Am I not doing it right? Or what should I do more now? Should I do more mindfulness? Or should I do more samadhi? Or should I do more contemplation? See, this is all called vimamsa.
It's only thinking about the Dhamma practice, right?
Thinking about the thing that will give you the goal that you want. If you want Dhamma, if you want enlightenment, then you have to think about the Eightfold Path. But if you're thinking about making money, then you think about how to market your products, how to advertise your products, how to increase your sale, for instance. This is also vimamsa.
Oh, so it's a general term, Ajahn.
Yes, it can apply to the worldly goal or to the Dhamma goal. But here we're talking about the Dhamma goal usually. So enlightenment. So we will vimamsa on the Noble Eightfold Path. And citta, we will concentrate on practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. Vidya, we will put our effort on the Noble Eightfold Path. Vidya Chanta, we will have the desire or the interest to do the Noble Eightfold Path. Chanta, Vidya, Citta, Vimamsa.
I always have a bit trouble with the last two. I think the Chitta and the Vimamsa. Yeah.
Citta means focus on the Noble Eightfold Path. Not distracted by any other things. Maybe you're focused on your work, for instance.
Yeah,
Somebody might come and ask you to go take a vacation, to go to a holiday, and you say, no, I want to focus on my practice. For instance. This is citta. What I mean, vimamsa is analyzing your progress, your practice. How are you doing with your practice? Are you fully compliant with what you need to do or not, for instance?
So the citta is totally different from the citta in the Satipatthana.
Right, it's been different thing, but it's similar. It's a citta that is focused.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Then we go to Christopher Han. Hi, Chris. Where are you from?
Hi, good evening, Ajahn.
And you're from Singapore?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, I have a few questions.
Sure, go ahead.
I want to talk a bit on consciousness. So, because consciousness arises every time when there's an external object, which is the sight, the sound, the odor, the flavor, the touch, and the thought, the six consciousness. So in that sense, the world arises because of consciousness. If consciousness ceases, the world ceases. This is my thinking. What are your views? Which means we create the world through the consciousness.
No, we acknowledge the world through consciousness.
Yes. But
the world is always there, but we sometimes will not be aware of the world. Like when we go to sleep, consciousness doesn't work.
So if you say you are not aware, does it mean that it still exists?
No, the world still exists. When you die, the world still exists.
But
it exists before you were born and still exists after you die.
So in that sense, because we are alive, that's why we say there's a world. But if we are dead,
we don't know whether there's a world or not.
Exactly. This is what I mean. So it means to say the consciousness arises because of the world, of the sense objects.
Consciousness is always there in the mind, and it used to connect to the body, so to be aware of the world.
So in that sense, it equals to sankhara, which is the will to live. That's why.
No, it's vijnana. Vijnana.
Now, how does the role of sankhara comes in?
Sankhara comes because you think about what you see, what you hear.
Yeah, vijnana is the consciousness.
Right, your consciousness of sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch objects.
Yes.
Once you're conscious, then you think about that object that you are conscious of.
Yeah. So
when you see a car, you say, "Oh, what should I do with this car?"
Yes, but the car is in your mind. It's not out there because the eye.
It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter where it is. It's there,
Okay. So that leads to the other question, which also about the suffering, because we keep saying suffering, because the Four Noble Truths, the truth itself is the suffering, and the truth equals to suffering. So
not the truth doesn't equal suffering. We're talking about the truth of suffering.
Which is about suffering.
Yes, we're talking about the truth of suffering. It's about suffering. What else were we talking about?
So in that sense, what's so noble about suffering?
Because it's the truth that we know can release us from the suffering that we are engaging right now. So it's called the noble truth.
Yeah, the truth equals to suffering.
No, not equal. You misunderstand. We're talking about the truth of suffering. Normally, we don't see the truth of suffering. We think being born as being happy. This is not the truth of suffering. When in fact being born is suffering. We don't see that. See, when we have birth, we usually celebrate, right? Give a cigar to your friends.
Yes.
I have a baby boy, for instance. Celebrate your birthday. Because you think having birth is happiness. When the truth is having birth is suffering. See, you don't see that.
Yeah, because there's delusion to think that because birth is equal. The birth is death. Birth is one end, death is the other end. It's on the same stick. To born is to die.
But people don't see it that way. See, they don't see death at the end.
Yeah, because they celebrate birth, but the point is the moment you are born, you are going to die.
Then you have noble truth. Then you have the noble truth.
So which also leads to the question on karma, which says that because Lord Buddha, when he was enlightened, right, he refused to teach in the first place because he says it's very difficult to understand. Then I think Brahma says, please teach and bring the Dhamma to the world, right? So in that sense, in the first place, it means Lord Buddha was rightfully wanted to be a Pacceka Buddha, not to teach.
That's right. If he decided not to teach, then he became a Pacceka Buddha.
Yeah. So in that sense, originally he never wanted to be a Sammasambuddha, because once you're a Sammasambuddha, you must teach, because the Pacceka Buddha doesn't need to teach.
Yeah. So what you're trying to get to the point? What point you're trying to driving at?
Oh, the point is, which means to have a Sammasambuddha is not easy. This is what when I look at it.
Okay.
So which means the truth, the Four Noble Truth he himself says is something that leads to suffering, which I understand. That then the point is, if he doesn't want to teach, does it mean that by not helping is because of the person's karma? Is to put in a sense that to say, let's say I don't help this person, it's because it is because of his karma.
No, it's because of his ability not to be able to accept your teaching.
Oh, okay.
Like trying to teach us nuclear physics to someone on the street. Say, come on, I'll teach you something about nuclear physics.
Okay.
You don't teach them. You have to look for the person who can understand nuclear physics or able to understand nuclear physics before you decide to teach them.
So he's in that sense, you're saying that he wants to learn nuclear physics, then you teach.
Or the ability to learn.
Okay, yeah, ability is the amplitude to learn, the amplitude to learn.
Yeah.
So if we do not help, is this a heavy karma to us?
Well, it's unfortunate, I guess, because you're still deeply delusional. That's all. That's what it means.
Okay, because it relates to Lord Buddha, because originally he doesn't want to help in the first place.
That's because he didn't think clear enough yet. He just looked at the thing in general and see people are so much involved with sensual pleasures. So he thought it would be difficult to teach these people.
Yeah.
But after he have a time to reflect more, and he see the other monks, the other practitioners of meditation, and they say, oh, these people, they are capable to accept his teaching. So he decided to teach these people first. So he went to teach the
five mendicants.
The five mendicants and all the other meditators from different traditions. There are many spiritual traditions during the time of the Buddha.
Yeah, the white hair ascetics and all
so
those.
Forth,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why he teach them to avoid the too extreme and go in the middle way.
So if that's the case, which means those white hair mendicants, they have lots of jhana.
Yeah, but
they
no
don't
wisdom,
have the Dhamma.
No wisdom.
Okay.
They don't know the cause of suffering is caused by their craving.
Okay. Yeah, right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Hello, Anura from New Zealand. You're the only country that's free from the virus, right? Right now.
Yeah, not yet.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, I think we have the new strain at the border.
Already?
Yeah. So the people who are coming into the country, so
what you do with them? Quarantine them?
Yeah. Everyone is quarantined for 14 days at the quarantine facilities, hotels provided by the government. So they are staying in all these 5-star, 3-star hotels. So
you still allow them to enter the country, huh? People from abroad.
Yeah, but it's mostly New Zealand residents and citizens coming back. Yeah.
And have to be quarantined for 14 days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So how are you,
today?
Ajahn?
Good, thank you.
Yeah. No question, Ajahn. So just listening in, and I think Gavin answered the questions that I wanted to ask about the body pain. So yeah, I've been practicing well, I think. Yeah. So your talks are so inspiring. So thank you for that, Sadhu.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then we go to Edwin
Yeah.
Tan.
Thank you.
Hi, Edwin, from Singapore.
Hi, evening, Ajahn. Yes, I'm from Singapore.
Any
Yeah, Ajahn,
question?
no question today. I would like to update you about my progress.
Okay.
So as I practice mindfulness in the day, I try to be mindful and concentrated in my movements, even when I use the washroom, even when I shower, and also understand that the desire to take a break, like take it easy, is actually my defilement that is disturbing me. Like that, this mindfulness should be kept all the time, from the time I wake up to the time that I sleep. There is training. I use the word training all the time to be mindful, to check. And as I practice in this way, there was once when I was sitting on the couch just by myself with no one at home, and I read somewhere before something along the lines that the mind doesn't need anything to be happy. So I sat down and I tried to investigate this, and then it felt like a small understanding that was the case, because at that point, and it still remained, that I felt at peace. It wasn't a emotion. It was a small knowing that I really don't need anything, and rather the mind don't need anything to be happy. The body can be going through all sorts of situations. I can be going through maybe conflict with family, but the mind itself is peaceful. It's only when the mind starts to identify with the emotion that's experienced, or the mind starts to follow the defilements, then this feeling of happiness seems to move away. But by itself, as long as I continue practicing the mindfulness and not getting sucked into the other thing, it is at peace. It is like the mind is peace itself. That was the understanding I got.
That's right. Everything can produce dukkha if you are involved with them. So it's better not to be involved with anything, to be alone, and then you'll find peace, which is the real happiness in your mind. Okay, just try to stay aloof, quarantine yourself as much as possible. Only contact when you have to for your basic necessity of life. Other than that, just be by yourself. Stay with emptiness. That's the real happiness. Emptiness is the real happiness. Because emptiness cannot produce any suffering. Because emptiness has no anicca, dukkha, anatta in it. Everything else have anicca, dukkha, anatta. Right?
Yes, Ajahn. Okay,
Is
thank you
that
very
all?
much,
Okay.
Ajahn, for the teaching. May your body be healthy and well. Thank you.
Okay, Jason, where are you from? Malaysia?
Yes, good evening, Panajan. I'm from Malaysia, Penang.
Yes.
Panajan, I got one question to ask regarding my tinnitus, ringing in the ear in the mind. And I've been trying to practice meditation, just take it as a background noise. And I just concentrated on my breathing and Buddha. Just want to confirm, is this the right way to go about in overcoming my tinnitus?
When you meditate, you want to just focus on your meditation object only, and disregard everything if they come into your attention. Just bring your mind back to your breath or to your meditation object.
The second part is that I mean, I'm not just wishing or anything like that, but this tinnitus, the ringing sound in my mind, in my ear, eventually it will seem out, right? When I have deep concentration.
Yes. If your mind becomes fully concentrated, then everything will disappear. And all you have left is emptiness.
Thank you, Tanajan. That's all I can ask. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, ST. You from Singapore?
Hi, evening, Ajahn.
Hi.
Hi. Maybe just an observation. Just want to seek your view regarding whether a person can just through meditation alone, correct meditation such as reciting Bodo, achieve freedom, but not reading any Buddhist text at all. Because
Just brief, you can achieve temporary freedom when your mind enter into samadhi. Then there is no suffering there. But when you come out of samadhi, then when you start thinking, you can create suffering from your desire or your cravings. So you need the teaching of the Buddha to let you know that you should not be desiring or crave for anything. Because everything you desire or crave for in this world are anicca, dukkha, anatta. They are causing suffering.
So together with meditation, I think one also needs the Buddhist text to.
That's right. To be able to completely get rid of your suffering.
Okay, I asked the reason why I asked that is because I observe a lot of us. The more we read, the more confused the person gets. In a way, you are actually acquiring karma from reading more and more things.
You read more than you need to know. So
correct.
That's the problem. What you should read is what you have to do. Just read on what you have to do. And other things, just forget about it.
So do you have any recommendation on the books to read that what we just have to do?
Well, I always recommend, if you want to practice meditation, read the Four Noble Truths and the Four Foundation of Mindfulness, the Satipatthana Sutta, and trying to find as much commentary about this sutta, because the sutta itself might be difficult to understand. So you might want to have someone else to help elaborate. Or if you have any question reading, you can come and ask me in the meeting. But don't go too far. You can read the whole thing, but it's a complete manual for practice, which involves the 3 steps of developing first mindfulness, second samadhi, and third wisdom. They are in this 4 foundation of mindfulness. But when you practice, you only have to go step by step. First, you have to develop mindfulness before you can have jhana and samadhi. Then after you have jhana and samadhi, then you can then contemplate on wisdom. See the nature of the body, nature of the feelings, nature of the mind, that they are anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? Read this if you want to practice. If you want to become enlightened, if you want to become free from suffering, you need the 4 foundation of mindfulness as your handbook. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we'll go to Lim Kim Heng. Hi, Lim. Are you listening? I think he freezes.
Freeze.
Okay. So, Gex Yenso, you're next from Penang. Gex.
Hi, Tanajan.
How are
Good
you?
evening to you. I'm well. Yeah, thank you, Tanajan. I'm listening today. No questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Let me see who else I haven't yet asked.
Nelson.
Nelson Saul. Hi, Nelson. Where are you from? Please unmute your microphone. Okay. Somehow your sound is not coming through. Can you speak louder? Maybe something wrong with your audio. When you enter the room, did you click on the using computer or audio? Or maybe your earplug is not working right. Can you pull it off and use the microphone from the computer itself? Can you unplug your earphone? You have to unmute your microphone also. Still no sound coming from you. I'm sorry, you might have to re-enter the room again. Okay, leave the room and then re-enter. And when it asks you to use the computer microphone, then click on it. Okay. All right. Let me say hello to Uma. Hi, Uma. Where are you from?
Hello, Ajahn. I'm from Pakistan. This is my third time being here.
Okay. Can I help you?
Yes, Ajahn. So I listened to your advice about just being with the breath, like last time when we were here and talking about mindfulness. So what happened was that I noticed that I cannot meditate any longer than 30 minutes. You know, even if I set my alarm for 35 minutes or 45 minutes, I just can't. What happens is that the concentration at the breath, you know, expands. It expands into the whole body awareness. And then I'm aware of the awareness, the knower, you know, like Mahabua said, when he focused so hard on the Buddha disappeared, and the only thing was left was mind's essential knowing nature in this book. So that is the same thing that happened with me. The only thing that was left was awareness, and the breath was gone. It was just a subtle feeling inside. And then I made that my meditation object, the awareness itself, the knower, the knowing, the observation, the observer. And I don't want to do that, even though it might be helpful. So why is it happening, and what can I do to be, you know, more concentrated on the breath? I'm following Ajahn Lee's method, by the way.
Well, if you cannot focus on your breath, then you have to focus on your awareness, just your knowing. Just as long as you're knowing and not thinking, then you're okay. You have to stop your thinking whenever you start to think. Then you should stop and focus on your knowing. Just be merely knowing.
Yeah, I mean, that happened a lot because when I started meditation, I started with this awareness itself. I didn't exactly go to the Buddhist text, not until a year later. So the breath disappears, not actually as a, you know, the subtle breath, the stage of samadhi, but just before it. And I can enter samadhi, even though my goal is to enter samadhi one day, and then I'm just left with the awareness itself. And then I see that there are two people. There are two things. One, that there's me and Omar. There is a breather, and then there is just awareness itself. And there's nothing about this in the Pali Suttas, you know, about this knower and knowing. All it says is that the wisdom I knows, or whatever it is. And so my question is it feels as if this awareness is undying, it's unborn, it's without suffering, and it's without any pleasure, bliss, or pain, anything. It's just awareness. It's on its own. It has no phenomenal qualities. Is this a valid insight, or would you say this is delusion?
It is. It's a pure mind. See, when the mind is just purely knowing, but when it becomes involved with the sensual object, it starts to have cravings for them. That's when you have suffering. You have stress.
Right.
So
And
you want to
then I
train your mind
realized this is
You want to train your mind just to be merely knowing when you are involved with things. Stop your cravings,
like
stop your desiring.
Yeah. Even when I'm right now talking with you, I can pretty much see this clearly, that this knowing is everywhere, and I'm aware of the knowing, but I'm not aware of the knowing as me, myself. I'm aware of the knowing as awareness itself.
That's right. No,
And then
the knowing just knows. That's all it does.
right. And then I realized, hey, this is not Theravada, this is Zen. This is what they talk about all the time, the Rigpa, the Buddha mind, and everything like that. There's nothing about this in the Pali text or the commentaries. So isn't this something, would you say, something that is in Zen and Mahayana and not actually Buddhism, Theravada?
I think they're probably embedded in there somewhere, but you just didn't find it. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the other thing about Buddha is that when practicing Buddha, because I've practiced breath meditation for so long, the first syllable of the Buddha, like Bud, is with the in breath, and the do is with the out breath. Is that okay?
Yes, it's just one method. You can do it differently. You can use Bhutto as you breathe in. You can use Bhutto as you breathe out also. Or you
And
can
someone told me, yeah.
disregard Bhutto altogether. Just focus on the breath alone. So this is a different method that you can use to concentrate your mind.
And then I was wondering that mantra, Buddha is essentially a mantra. This is not even a part of Theravada. There is no such thing as like that. This is in Indian mantras and chanting. So, and somebody told me to think Buddha really fast, like Buddha really fast, so that it doesn't escape the attention, because our attention tends to latch onto things that are fast and not slow. So is that also okay to think Buddha really fast with meditation?
That's another method. It depends. If it works for you, then you can use it. It depends on whether you can produce the result you want or not. Is to stop thinking.
Because sooner or later it's going to slow down. Just as thinking subsides, there is less and less mental activity, right. And then there's just this awareness itself.
Yes, sometimes you can stop Buddha altogether when there's no thinking.
And this happens with the breath as well. You think you're doing great, and the breath is going in and out, in and out, in and out. Your entire mindfulness is with the breath, and then what happens? The breath gets shorter and shorter, shallower and shallower, and narrower, and then it's almost like it's just a subtle breathing, and then you lost all your concentration and it's gone. And that's what happens at the 30th minute. I can't even go beyond that. So what would you recommend I do? And why does it get so subtle?
Well, that's the nature of the breath. The more the body becomes less active, then the breathing becomes less active also, become more subtle. But you should concentrate. You should continue concentrating further, even if there's no breath. If you cannot concentrate on your breath, maybe you have to resort to your mantra, Bhutto, 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 and keep continuing meditating.
Yeah, one thing I thought about was, if the breath gets so subtle that it's escaped my mindfulness, my attention, I thought about breathing fast again, because why not? So that it comes back into the mind. It's slow, breathe fast, and that will do it. But I don't think we are supposed to do that. Can we enter samadhi without the subtle breath, jhana without the subtle breath, or is that necessary?
Well, you enter jhana because you have concentration. You stop thinking. So whichever way you do it, if you can stop your thoughts and your mind, then enter into like falling from a high place. Then you fall into emptiness and peace and happiness.
But that will not happen in 30 minutes. Somebody says that 30
doesn't
minutes
matter.
is nothing.
The time doesn't matter. If you have strong and continuous mindfulness, you can do it in 5 minutes.
Oh wow! Somebody can do it in 20 minutes. And about this nimitta, is that necessary or is that not necessary at all?
They are byproducts. You don't want to pay any attention to them.
Because they can arise in the form of white light pervading the mind, like a black screen that is being shown on.
They are distraction.
And then when the nimitta shines up, you start to lose concentration on the breath. So what do you suggest I do there?
You come back to your breath or recite a mantra instead. You cannot come back to your breath.
The thing about reciting the mantra is changing the breath. It feels like changing the entire object from mantra to breath. You either pick one, you either pick mantra, or you pick breath. Because I'm such a perfectionist, sometimes I remember there was a time when I changed an object in meditation 5 times. First it was asubha, then metta, then breath, then metta, mantra, and I was like, this is not going to get you anywhere.
That's
you have
because
to stick to one object there.
That's because your mindfulness is not strong enough. You cannot force it to stick with one object, so it keeps running away. So you have to develop more mindfulness before you meditate.
Before you meditate. And how would you recommend I develop mindfulness would you recommend walking because it's so cold in the winter and there's
Every
not much enough?
action, every movement you can use to develop mindfulness. Just keep watching
Because
what
if
you
I
do.
right, because if I do that, you say keep watching what you do, I end up back in the state of nowhere. You know, the awareness,
No, you
being
just keep
aware of
watching,
awareness.
just watching you being aware of what you do, what your body is doing.
Right, and this has caused something permanent inside me. What happens is that I've practiced the present moment awareness for so long that I've lost almost all short-term memory. Like if I pick a spoon and I put it somewhere and then I turn my head, I won't even know that I picked it up and put it there. I would have to look back. My short-term memory is so messed up because of this that I cannot even go back. So can you suggest something? Why has it happened? Has it happened because of the mindfulness practice itself or something to do with the brain?
I don't think so. The more mindfulness you have, the better memory you would have also, because you know exactly what you are doing. So maybe the
Right,
kind
that's
of
why I asked
mindfulness you
about
have
this.
is not the right kind of mindfulness.
Because Ajahn Mahabua wrote in his book that when he was so intent on practicing Buddha all day, every day, he said he didn't even know what was going around himself anymore. He says days and night would pass and he would just be one with the Buddha. He wouldn't even know that days would have been passing and
It
he
just
was
means that
living a
he's so
life.
concentrated on his meditation object. That's what he meant.
So how would you recommend like Mahabua to practice Buddha in daily activities?
Just do like he said, and be
He
focused
said
on
the only thing
Buddha.
you have to do is Buddha and not
Yes,
even
yes.
your activities like walking, working, studying, anything, just Buddha.
Well, with your activities, you have to do something, right? You don't sit down all day long. So you have Buddha just to prevent your mind from thinking about other things. But you still have to be watching what you're doing at the same time as you're reciting Buddha also.
Okay, and as for walking meditation, that doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel like it's actually something good for me. And yet you say to be mindful before meditation. So what would you recommend I do for that?
Well, you can do chanting. Chanting can also increase your mindfulness. Think of a sutta. Try to remember a sutta and chant that sutta, like the four
Right, and
foundation of mindfulness.
right, and they say that this happens because there is no urgency in your practice. You haven't practiced Asubha long enough, because when you practice Asubha long enough, you start to realize how the body and all these problems are not important anymore. They're trivial, and then your practice becomes super concentrated, and you don't have to worry about declines and acclivities and practices anymore.
I think you know too much, and you get all confused by what you know. See? So you don't know where to start. What you know might be a few steps ahead of you, and you shouldn't even go there yet. You're not there yet. See?
So, as for breath meditation, if I were to practice it in daily activities, when I do that, it seems that
It's not easy to do breath meditation when you're doing something. It's better to concentrate on what you do as your meditation object. If you're walking, just watch you're walking. If you're eating, just watch what you're eating. Always bring your mind in the present. Keep your mind in the present. Don't let it go to the past or the future, or think about any other thing except for what you are doing at the moment.
right, because when you say to be really present and just do everything in the moment, what happens is that there's some portion of the mind that is being attentive to the present moment, and then there's other portion of the mind that has closed itself to the possibilities of what is going on around you. So it doesn't feel like all around present moment awareness. It feels like concentration, and that is not what we should be doing in activity, right?
I don't know how to. We seem to be running in a circle.
Yeah, I mean, it just won't dissolve. I mean, I've been at it for so long. I've been practicing breath meditation for almost 2 months every day, and sometimes twice a day. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the body is heavy, sometimes the body is light. But like all the Thai forest, Ajahn says to practice every day is better than not practice at all.
That's right. And when you're not practicing meditation, you should be practicing mindfulness also.
But then sometimes what happens is maybe I overdo it, or maybe I don't. I end up with a headache, and then I decide, okay, you are either doing it wrong, or you're doing it not too much or too much. 3 possibilities.
Probably either wrong or not doing enough.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, those are the only questions I have. Thank you, Ajahn.
Yeah, you just have to try to find your own way, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, Ajahn.
All right, you're welcome. Winnie Lai, hi, how are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm Vinny from Penang here. Thank you for Ajahn having this session. Yeah, Ajahn, I have two questions. Okay, in the past 2 weeks, I've been practicing Anapanasati, and I can practice about 2 sessions a day. So one session is about 1 hour, sometimes 45 minutes concentration, awareness. Then because of these 2 weeks, I don't know why, I have an insomnia, and I wake up in the midnight, okay, and I don't feel stressed anything. I dream something funny. So many story funny. Sometimes I dream a ghost. I don't scared ghosts, and I something funny in the life. Then when I awake in the midnight, I cannot sleep. I try to practice this meditation, but I aware that my brain is overactive until I cannot concentrate my breathing, and even though I try to recite Bhutto, it cannot work for me. Then this is what make me worry. Then after that, I went to see doctor. Doctor definitely give me a sleeping pill or the tranquilizers medicine. So I'm worried that this medicine will affect my brain structure or my meditation practice on this?
Well, if you cannot go to sleep, then just meditate instead. You
The
don't need to
problem
take
is
any medicine.
I cannot focus. I can aware that my brain brain energy is so powerful, and
Do chanting then. Chant the sutta. Chant
oh,
until you feel tired and you drop dead and go to sleep.
okay. And then, okay, I try to recite Bhutto, and maybe I recite about 20 times. Then
Not enough. You have to do it for 1 hour at
oh,
least.
okay. So, okay, example, when I go I will practice on this, because in the past I tried to recite Bhutto for maybe 20 times or 30 times. Then my mind will come and instruct me to come for this breath meditation. Then after a few minutes, my mind will come to instruct me to go for recite Bhutto. So I feel like I lost the control. I don't know why happened to me on these 2 weeks, until that I stopped for a while, but I still practice meditations for a short period. So
You're losing mindfulness. You cannot control your mind. You let your thought direct you instead of you directing your thoughts.
Okay.
So you have to force yourself to recite just the mantra, Bhutto, and don't listen to your mind.
Okay. I will try and see. And in meantime, for these a few days, I try to take this sleeping pill, right, to have my quality of sleep. Then is it these sleeping pills will definitely it will slow down my brain activity. Will it affect on my brain structure or my meditations process something? This is make me worry, because I very urged to practice meditations, Ajahn. So
It will make you dependent on the sleeping pill, so you should not take any sleeping pill. Don't be dependent on pills to solve your problem.
Okay.
If you cannot go to sleep, then walk meditation, do chanting until you get tired. Then you'll fall asleep. And when you don't fall asleep, you don't have the desire to go to sleep. Just tell yourself, okay, if you don't want to go to sleep, well, we don't go to sleep.
Okay. So, I already practiced last few weeks without the medicines, sleeping pill when I awake in the midnight, about 2 or 3 o'clock, and I try to meditate. When I meditate, I don't know, my mind will be divert to my heart palpitations, my heart beating, racing up, racing down. So it's also loss of the concentration already, right?
That's right. You're not focused on your meditation object.
Yeah. So when I have a heart palpitations, that means my mind will come on another different story. Is it I'm having a heart attack, my emotion, all these kind of things. So okay, I will try to practice for this recite Buto Buto until my mind is tiring of these five animals, right? Then when settle down, then only I will try to practice against the meditation. Am I right?
Just keep reciting mantra or chanting. Don't let your mind think about any other thing.
Yeah. Any these mantra or anything like the Ratana Sutta or Mangala Sutta, any this sutta, I think should be okay, right? As long that feel very comfortable on this.
If you can remember them, it's better not to recite them without having to look at the text itself. Recite from memory.
Okay.
Even a short chanting like Iti Piso, Bhagava, Arahang, Samma, Sambuddho. Just repeat them many times.
Yeah.
Just to keep your mind busy, so that your mind cannot think or tell you what to do.
Yeah. Okay, so just now I have gone through some of the questions from the rest of Kalamita, right? Okay, the fundamental of the Buddhist, right? In order for us to practice the meditation successful, first we have to know the Four Noble Truths, and then Eightfold Path and dependent origination. This is the basic of the Buddhism's teaching, right? So from
Yes, it's basic, but you don't have to know when you first start practice. Your first practice just to know how to do mindfulness, and don't have to know anything else.
Okay.
Because it can interrupt your mindfulness development. Because when you develop mindfulness, you don't want to think about anything.
Yes, I do agree. I do agree because some of the friends is coming back to me say that I need to read some sutta. Actually, I'm not a very intelligent or very smart person because when reading the sutta is quite deep. So I'm scared that I'm worried that okay, if I don't follow reading the sutta, is it will impact to my meditation, and is it my Dhamma level will be not getting a higher or something in a jhana or something. So okay, I do understand. We have to go step by step. Is correct the mindfulness.
You have to start with the mindfulness. Other information can come in later on.
Yes. Okay. Sadhu Ajahn.
Just know how to calm your mind, make your mind peaceful and happy, and all you need is mindfulness. Abhijato.
Yeah, but it's good, right? It's good that I have the awareness that oh, my palpitation is coming, that my action is coming in ready. But is I know aware is the input of this palpitation. At the same time, I know that how to override or how to cover up the emotion or the palpitations, the negative view on this. So I'm in the right trend, right, Ajahn?
If you can control them, yes, then you're in the right trend.
Oh. Okay. But I believe if I've really urged to follow this kind of step, I think I can overcome this kind of a negative thinking or something like emotion thinking.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Sadhu Ajahn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a chance to ask the question.
We have a Lim Kingham.
Lim Kingham.
Yeah. He doesn't freeze again. Okay. He can talk now.
Okay. Good evening, Tan Ajahn.
From Malaysia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're from Malaysia. I can hear you, but you're freezing again.
Okay, he freeze again.
Okay, Saul was here just now. Did he come back in?
No.
Nielsen. He's not in. Okay. So we'll go to La. If you have any question from Facebook, go ahead.
There are 7 questions from Facebook. Question number 1 from Mas Drusen. Dear Ajahn, should we study all the sutra? Thank you so much for your time and teaching.
Not all the sutra, just some of the important ones, like the first discourse called the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and the Mangala Sutta, the Satipatthana Sutta, the Anattalakkana Sutta, and the Adhitaya Sutta. I think this is about all the sutta that you should study.
And next question from Nelson Saw. Good morning, my dear Ajahn. Happy New Year. I wish you much health. Ajahn Suchart, what is your opinion about temporary ordinations? Thank you very much for your helping us. Please accept my obeisances.
Well, temporary ordination is to give you a taste, like have a taste of a piece of hamburger, not the whole piece, just a bite of the hamburger. But you want to have a full stomach, you have to eat the whole hamburger. So if you want to have complete destruction of the suffering, then you have to have a long time or permanent ordination. Okay, just a glimpse, give you a taste of what the taste of Dhamma will be like. But once you taste it, you'll feel compelled to continue on with your practice, with your ordination, because you'll find that there's nothing better than the taste of Dhamma. So maybe the temporary ordination might turn into a permanent ordination, who knows? Like Ajahn Mahabua, when he first ordained, he didn't have any intention of being ordained for a long time. He did because out of respect for his parents, they want him to ordain in order to depend on his merit, to send them to heaven. See? So that's why he ordained. He didn't ordain because he wanted to. But once he ordained and he started to study about the Dhamma teaching, and he started to practice, then he started to realize that there's nothing better than the Dhamma. So he never disrobed.
And next question from Po Leong Soon. Can somebody in good meditation can see the previous life of persons?
It depends. Some people can, some people can't. Only about 5% of the meditators will be have the ability to have this psychic power. For most, they won't have this psychic power. But it's not important for the cessation of suffering.
Next question from Winston Go. Euthanasia. What alternative can we do to stop intentional killing?
Don't do it, that's all.
Next question from Po Leong Soon. I achieving only one time so nice in deep mindfulness for a few seconds. After that, no more experience like this happen. Why?
Because you don't do it again, that's why. Do it again, keep doing it. If you don't do it, you don't get it. See? It's like eating. If you stop eating, then you will become hungry again. But if you keep eating, you'll be always full.
Next question from Winston Go. Does last thought moment upon death bring us to next rebirth?
It depends, whether that last thought is strong enough to decide your destination or not. Some people have the last thought and became enlightened. But your thought sometimes can be strong and weak. So it depends on how strong your last thought can be. Can it influence the mind to stop taking birth or not? That's the question.
Next question from Oi Po Hua. I find I'm restless when sit down just 5 or 10 minutes. How to stop my restless body to keep still? Thank you, Ajahn.
Stand up and walk. Do walking meditation instead of doing sitting meditation. Walk until you feel tired and you want to rest. Then your restlessness will disappear.
And last question from Lisa Wu. Dear Ajahn, good evening. Is it okay to practice 7 precepts instead of 8 due to food intake before 3 p.m.? Does this matter?
Yes, it matters because you won't get full benefit from the precepts. You only get 7 out of 8. If you take an examination, you won't get 100% grade. You only get 7/8 of the grade. So it depends on what you want. If you want food, then you cannot have the 8 precepts. If you want the 8 precepts, then you don't have to have food. You cannot have them both. I mean, evening food after midday. Okay, anybody else? We'll go freestyle right now. If anybody wants to ask any question, please raise your hand and unmute your microphone. Looks like nobody.
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody.
Then maybe it's time for us to close this meeting, and we'll meet again next Tuesday at the same time. Okay. Thank you very much for your participation. I hope it's of some benefit and help you advance in your practice. In the meantime, be safe, be happy, and be mindful. And goodbye.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Thank you,
Ajahn.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you,
Ajahn.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you, Kun Admin. Thank you, Kun La.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.